Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books, and today I'm here with the beginning of a new reading vlog. I am reading Paranormal Romances. It is a paranormal romance readathon that I host with my best friends Lacey and Lisa. I will link them down below, and it is the weekend edition, so it is Friday, and so I've started 2 books already, but I'm super excited to read Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I want to read 6 books, which I know is super ambitious to read in 3 days, but 3 of them are audiobooks, and 3 of them are a lot shorter, so we'll see if I get to those. I don't even remember where I put... Oh, it's here. Okay. We have a bingo board. I already started one book. I started The Air by Katie Robert. This is a novella, so it's only 150 pages. It counts for like half the board. And so there was a cliffhanger at the end of book 1. So I can't really tell you too much about the synopsis of this, but it did release this year. It's polyamorous, and there is a woman and vampires. So that's really all I can tell you about it. It's really good so far. Something really big happened at the end of the first book, so they're trying to get out of that situation or figure it out. So I'm like 10% in. I started early. I started last night and I'm enjoying it, so I'm excited to read more. I also started the audio of Captive Blood and I'm really enjoying this. I was nervous because I know Lisa read it and gave it 3 stars, I think, but she has special blood, and so she is kidnapped by these vampires and taken to their house or this estate and just kept captive there, and she's kind of falling for one of the vampires, and he like really likes her, but they need her blood for a specific reason, and his father, I think, is the king. I'm pretty sure his dad is the king, and the king like wants her for him, and she figures out though if she mates with one of them, they can't use her blood anymore, so she's like trying to get the one guy to like mate with her, but she really likes him too, like honestly likes him, and he really likes her, and he's having such a hard time not just claiming her and like doing things for the good of the vampires, but he still is protecting her, and he has already lost someone he loved before, so we just kind of got that scene. It's really short. It's 6 hours, and so I'm already 3.5 hours into it, so I only have 2.5 hours left, so I'm excited to finish this. I'm really enjoying it. I really love the angst in their romance because it's definitely forbidden, but it's also a captor-captive romance, which I love, and it's vampires, so this is really good. The other 2 that I really want to read is written by Catherine Moon. I think I'm going to start this after I finish Katie Robert, and then Body and Soul, which is a historical with a ghost. So I really need to read this, and then once I finish Captive Blood, because I'm definitely going to finish that because I have to run and walk my dogs tomorrow, which is about 3 hours of listening on audio, and I have less time than that left on Blood Captive. I'm gonna start the other Christy Cunning book. I'm really excited for this because I've heard really good things, and if I finish this, I am going to my parents' house tomorrow for their house date game, so we'll see how much of listening I get done. I'm definitely going to bring a book over to read while I'm there. I really want to read the 3rd book in, I think it's 2 trials, but maybe it was 3 trials, I don't remember. In the Christy Cunning, again, her romance series, I need to get to book 3, and I have the audio for that too, and it's really good. She's a ghost and they're demon hunters, so it's amazing. I'm excited. I have so many good books on my TBR, so hopefully I enjoy reading them, and I will update you guys probably tomorrow, maybe tonight. We'll see. Good morning. It is Saturday morning, so it is day 2 of the Paranormal Romance Readathon. I finished Blood Captive, and I really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it 5 stars. There wasn't anything I didn't like about it. In the ending, I'm just like, what's gonna happen next? I don't, like, things came out and I was like, who do you even trust now? And it was so good. I really loved how it was very forbidden, and then she didn't know if she could trust him or not, and crazy things went down with his family, and there were like vampire hunters that came in, and it was really short. It was a 6-hour audiobook, but I loved it, so it kept me very entertained on my run this morning. Finished it while I was walking my dogs, and then I did start the Christy Cunning book, and I realized with Christy Cunning's other series, the Ghost Reverse Harem, my library has books 1, 2, and 4, and guess which book I'm on? Number 3. So I'm gonna have to read that physically with Kindle Unlimited and not through audio, but I started the audio of her other book and it's good so far. She can see ghosts, and it's a little like campy, I guess, so far. She's at her mom's funeral and like no one's there, but then there's this ghost in her underwear and she's like weird, and so she can talk to her, and then this guy comes in and he's like asking for, I don't even know what he was there for, but she has to pretend to be her mom's niece and like not magic, and the guy was like a client of her mom's, and that's all we've gotten so far. So I'm only about half an hour into the 8-hour audiobook, so I'm interested to see where it goes. I don't know if this is Reverse Harem or not. I know her other series was, but I'm excited to continue on. I am halfway through Air by Katie Robert. Nothing new has really happened, so I fell asleep reading last night. I meant to finish it because I only have like an hour and 20 minutes left of reading, but I fell asleep, so yeah. But I have to go to my parents' house today, so I'm definitely gonna listen to my audiobook in the car. My sister worked last night, so she's sleeping all day, so it's just me and my pups, but they're both in here with me. I was filming some TikToks and they just decided to hang out, so they're adorable. But yep, that's all the updates I have. I'll update you probably not at my parents' house. I'll update you later tonight, and hopefully I've read a lot more. Hello everybody, it is Saturday evening. I talked to you this morning. It has been a long day. I went to my parents' house, got there around like 10. I did spend a long time there. We watched the Ohio State game, got some Jimmy John's for lunch, which is really good. Ohio State's been like beating their opponents by a lot lately, so the games have not been that fun to watch. But hopefully we play really good games against our future opponents like Penn State and Michigan. Hopefully they're better games. Like, I'm glad Ohio State's winning, but it's boring when they win like 60-17 was around where the score was for today's game. But I got to film a video when I got home, which was fun. I filmed my favorite historical romance reads that I've read recently because I miss historical romance so much. And I'm glad that this readathon is only 3 days, because genre specific readathons, unless it's historical romance, I get really burnt out on. So if I had to spend a whole week reading paranormal romances, I feel like I'd be really tired of it by the end. So 3 days is like perfect. I did finish Air by Katie Robert, and I gave it 3.5 stars. It didn't develop the plot enough and focuses more on the relationship and the physical relationship between the 4 characters. We didn't get a lot more of like running away from her dad and the thing that had happened at the end of the first book. That was only really addressed the end of this book, and like the entire rest of the time it was just them together. And so I wanted a little bit more plot building in here, so that's why I gave it 3.5 stars. I think it's still really fun, and I like all the characters and how their relationships were developed, but like more so in this book, but it needed more like actual plot to it, so that's why I gave it 3.5 stars. But I'm excited to read the 3rd book in that series, and I started Written by Catherine Moon, and I'm 50 pages in, and it's really intriguing so far. So she's a librarian in training. It really reminded me of Discovery Witches, which I actually DNF'd that book, but I did watch the 1st season of the show, which I really liked, but I'm not enjoying season 2. I watched the 1st episode and I really wasn't enjoying like the vibes and the direction the show took, because they actually do travel back in time. So I haven't picked it up yet, but let me know if that season gets better. But I still really liked season 1, and so I know the premise of the book, because the book was just way too long and drawn out. And so in Discovery Witches, she discovers a book that has been like hidden from everybody else, but it comes out for her. And in this book, she is like able to find all these books that have been missing for a while and that like the professors have asked for. And she's like, oh, here they are, like they just showed up. And they're like, what? And so she's a librarian in training. She thinks she has no magic, but I think she probably has a lot more than she thinks so. And I think it's 3 professors that live together, and they want her to finish like their coven. And so they're kind of like staking her out kind of thing, like feeling her out, seeing if she would match and like if all 3 of them like her. So it's really interesting so far. So since it's only 200 pages, I want to stay up and read it tonight. It's 8:30, and so I end up falling, if I go like get into bed at 8:30, I will legitimately fall asleep by 9, even reading, like if my light's on, and then I'll wake up at like 2 in the morning with my light still on. So I need to like not lay down and read, which I always end up doing. But yeah, I'm excited. I did also want to show you a book I got, which I'm really excited for. It is The Merchants of Venice, Inside Harlequin in the Empire of Romance. And so the cover is someone like painting the portrait for like a step back, or like the front cover. And I figured this out because Chelsea Upton on TikTok, I will link her down below. I'm obsessed with her videos because she talks all about historical romance and like vintage historical romance. And she was talking about what she had read in this book. And so it sounds fascinating. It's like the history of the Harlequin romance novel and how like romance became so popular. So I'm very excited to have this and read it. I got it for like $5 on Amazon used bookstore. I think it was like $4 actually. And I love her videos though, because she talks a lot about like the history of romance. Steph from Virgo Reader also does a lot of videos like that, not as much anymore, and Chelsea really is the one who focuses on historical all the time, but I will link them both down below. Steph I followed first on Instagram, and then she's on TikTok, but Chelsea I followed on TikTok first, and I'm just like go down a rabbit hole of watching her videos and her talking about different cover illustrators and different authors, and she's just like a well of knowledge, and I love learning from her. And so I had to get this when she talked about it, so I'm really excited and learning a little bit more about the romance industry. Though I am currently reading a nonfiction about Mount Everest, like who's surprised, and I'm really loving it, but I leave it at school and I can only read it at school because I always have something to read for a vlog at home, but that's like my treat at school when I have an extra minute or it's a reading period for my guided reading classes. So I'm only like 90 pages into that, and it's like a 400-page book, but I'm excited to read more. And yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna finish, oh, I started the Christy Cunning audiobook, and this one, it's a little hard to get into. First of all, the guy's narration is really hard to read. He's got kind of an accent and it's really low, so it's hard to understand, especially when I was in my car on my way to my parents' house and back. When I have headphones in, it's easier to understand, but I have to slow it down, and it's making me annoyed that there are different speeds, the guy and the girl are. But she can see ghosts, and then these wolves like attack her and he saves her, and that's really all I'm at so far. So I'm not loving it. I don't know like where things are going, but we shall see. And then I don't know what I want to read next, so I actually downloaded the second book to that vampire romance I already read on audio because my library had it, so I'm probably gonna start that next. And then I do want to read either the other Christy Cunning with the Ghost Reverse Harem, or I'm trying to look at it in my bookshelf. It's that The Duke in Wolf's Clothing or something, which is a historical paranormal romance. I'm not sure which one of those I want to read, but that might be my next read. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna finish written tonight and hopefully come to you tomorrow morning having read it all. But I am going to see the new James Bond movie tomorrow, so it's going to take up like a lot of my time tomorrow because the movie is over 2 hours long. You have to get there and you have previews. I've only seen one movie since COVID started in theaters, and that was Fast and Furious, so I'm really excited to go back and see this one too, because my sister's super excited. My sister loves James Bond more than I do. But I actually talked about Sean Connery with my yearbook kids, because we do On This Day in History every day and like talk about something that happened in history. And on like I think Thursday was the anniversary of like when Sean Connery came back as James Bond, and they had no idea who he was, and I died inside. So teenagers need to watch James Bond, like classic old James Bond. Though I grew up in Pierce Brosnan, and so he has a special place in my heart as being James Bond. But my mom loves James Bond, so that's why I've always watched it. So I've watched most of them. Anyways, I'm gonna see James Bond tomorrow, so that's gonna interrupt some of my reading, but I'm gonna run and walk my dog, so I have lots of audiobook listening time tomorrow. But I will talk to you guys then. Oh my goodness. Hello everybody, it is actually Sunday morning, so I don't know why this puppy is so tired. We did go to my parents' house yesterday, like I said, so she's a little bit tired. Look how cute she is. Darcy's right there. We are leaving in about an hour to go see our movies, so I guess it's good the dogs are tired. But I did finish the Christy Cunning book. I'm gonna cover Lily's face, I'm sorry, but I finished this and I realized, you know, I was like talking about the male narrator. Apparently he was narrating all 3 male parts, and I didn't catch on until like halfway through the book because I was very confused. I was like, who is this guy? Like, I don't get it. And then I realized was 3 of them, so I had to really pay attention to who was talking, because it would say like chapter 4 and then it would say the name, but I was like completely like not paying attention to what the name was that they were saying beforehand, and I was like, oh wait, they are actually saying the name of the character. So I then realized like, oh, pay attention when they say the chapter name, because I need to figure out who's talking. And I could usually figure it out because one of them is a werewolf, like the head of a pack. One of them's a ghost, I think. I'm so confused on his character. And one of them's a monster hunter, and it's supposed to be reverse harem, but there's literally 0 romance in this book, so there was that. And I was really bored throughout this, and I think that's because the audiobook is not the way to go with this series. I think that with reverse harems, I shouldn't listen to audiobooks because I need to be able to keep all the characters straight. And it was different, like the Madison Kate series did that, and I listened to those on audio, but I think the narrator did a good job of differentiating the voices of the guys, so I could like pretty much know. And the guys were all so different anyways that I knew who was who. And in this one, once I realized that the narrator was different parts, I could pretty much figure it out because they were pretty different characters, because they were like different species, but it was still hard to figure out who they were. And I'm still very confused about this world. This whole first book is just world building, because the heroine's trying to figure out like secrets about herself, and her like friend Ghost was just very over the top, campy kind of thing, and there was nothing like that made me really invested in this book. It's super popular. It's got 15,000 ratings, 4.2 rating on Goodreads, so people love this series. But as an audiobook, I was not impressed, and I really didn't care about the story, and I was just like confused where, like, what was the end goal, what was happening. She was just trying to figure out more about her mom's death and her own powers, and I was just like, I don't get it. Like, there were vampires that were trying to kill her, but then the wolves were trying to kill her, and I was like, why do people want to kill her? And she was just like, I don't know, not listening to the guys. And like I said, there's like no romance whatsoever, so I don't know when that's going to come into the series, but I don't know if I want to continue on with the series. I'm giving this book 3 stars, not super impressed. but know that the audiobook wasn't the way to go. I am halfway through Written, which we are all not surprised I did not end up finishing this book last night. I read about 40 pages before falling asleep, so it's good so far. So this one's reverse harem too, and something crazy just happened in the library though, so I'm really excited to see where that goes. The beginning's been pretty slow. It's just the guys like saying they want her in their coven, and her being like, oh my gosh, like really? And then just getting to know them and just like working in the library. And I really like how she discovered her own magic, so that's really fun so far. It's just a very like quiet book so far, but something did just happen where I think it's going to really move the plot along, so I'm excited to see where that goes. But I'm definitely going to finish this today. I don't know if I will be able to get to my next book. I am going to start though the third Christy Cuddy book on ebook, and we'll see how far I get. I do have school tomorrow, so I can't stay up too late reading, but those are my plans. So far I have finished 3 books, halfway through another one, and my plan is to finish 5 total, so we'll see if that happens. Hey guys, so it is currently Sunday night. I did see James Bond today, and it was so good. Oh my gosh, it was over 2.5 hours, but it went by so fast, and I loved it so much. Cried, didn't expect to cry. It was just so good, and so nice being back in the movie theater. It was really annoying, so we went with our parents and we got like 4 seats in a row, and it's the theater where you have to like pick your tickets in advance, like where you sit, and 2 people sat right next to us. The entire row was open and they sat right next to us, so we moved down one because we looked at the tickets to see like if anybody was sitting on the other side of us, and no one was. It's like, why would you be that person to sit directly next to someone at a movie theater? The whole row was open. That was really annoying, but the movie was great. It was so good. I like it. It's one of my favorites, I think, with Daniel Craig, because it was so good. Go see it if you haven't yet. But I have about 40 pages left in my book. I have not finished yet. It's just been busy, and then my sister and I watched another episode of the impeachment show about Clinton and Monica Lewinsky. It's very interesting if you haven't watched it. I'm really enjoying it. But I am enjoying the book, but I feel like it's very slow. I've seen a couple people on Goodreads have DNF'd it, and I can see why, because it is very slow. I like their relationship, but like they're dragging out this whole monster thing, and I feel like it needs a little bit more action. And I do think the romance kind of happened really quickly, so I would have liked to see that develop more, but I'm still enjoying it, and I don't know if I feel like reading on my Kindle right now. I kind of want to read a historical, and even though I'm going to start a historical romance audiobook tomorrow, that's the one I want to read next. So I'm going to finish this tonight, so I'll probably update you guys one more time tomorrow, but hopefully I don't have any problems finishing these last 40 pages. Hey guys, I'm here to close out this vlog. It is actually Tuesday. I just didn't have any time to film yesterday. I had to do a lot after school, and then I had him on my lawn, so I was tired by the end of the day yesterday, but I officially finished 4 books for the readathon. I wanted 6, but I was busier than I expected. Seeing a movie, watching a football game, those took up a good chunk of my day each day this weekend, but I'm really excited that I still got 4 books done, and I had a really surprising read. So Blood Captive, I really enjoyed. 5 out of 5 stars. It was only a 5-star read this weekend, but Christy Cunning's book was not impressive to me, so that was definitely a disappointment. And then the Katie Robert book was pretty good. 3.5 stars, were rounded up to 4. The Catherine Moon one was a little disappointing. I'm giving it 3 stars. This one was just very slow, and I wanted a lot more action and stuff happening besides like her just being there. I still feel like I didn't even get to really know her that well as a character, and not a lot like really happened in the plot until the end, and it was just hard to connect with the characters. So I gave this one 3 stars. Unfortunately, I know that Samantha loves it, and I feel so bad I didn't love it, but I want to try her other series as well. I think I'll like that better, so hopefully I do. But that's my wrap up for this weekend. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you participated and what you read. I still read like nothing that I hated, right? 3 stars still means it was an enjoyable experience. It just wasn't like the best. So yeah, but I'm excited to continue on in that Blood Captive series, because I did get the 2nd book on audio, but I've already started and almost done with another historical romance audiobook, because that's all I really want to read right now. But yeah, let me know what you read. I'd love to hear. And then I do need to jump into A Shadow in the Ember. I was not about to try to read this weekend because it's over 600 pages, but it is the prequel for the From Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout. I was sent the copy early, so I'll probably jump into this soon. I didn't end up starting the werewolf romance either, the historical. I actually just yesterday read Gianna Darling's novella that comes before her book that comes out soon. So my reading is just all over the place. I feel like I'm good at sticking with the TBR, but I'm also very much a mood reader, where I get into moods of different genres I want to read, and that's all I want to read. So I am excited to read this though. But yep, that's all I have. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day. Bye.